Julian Reed stared at his phone in disbelief. Mrs. Patterson, there must be something you can do. I have the quarterly board presentation today. I'm sorry, Mr. Reed. His daughter's nanny replied, her voice hoarse with illness. The doctor says it's strep throat. I shouldn't be around Sophia for at least 48 hours. Julian pinched the bridge of his nose, feeling the beginnings of a headache. As CEO of Reed Innovations, a tech company valued at over $3 billion, he had masterfully navigated corporate crises, but childcare emergencies still left him floundering. Feel better, Mrs. Patterson, he said, ending the call. Julian glanced at his watch, 6:45 a.m., then toward his daughter's bedroom. Since losing his wife Charlotte to cancer 2 years ago, he had rebuilt his life around two pillars, his company and his 6-year-old daughter, Sophia. Fortunately, those worlds rarely mixed well. Sophia, he called softly, entering her room. Time to wake up, sweetheart. The little girl stirred beneath her constellation-patterned duvet. Her curly auburn hair, so like her mother, spread across the pillow as she blinked sleepily. Daddy, it's still dark outside. I know, princess. Listen, Mrs. Patterson is sick today, so you're coming to work with Daddy. Sophia sat up immediately, her green eyes widening. It's your big building with the spinning doors. That's the one, Julian nodded, already mentally rearranging his schedule. The board meeting couldn't be postponed, but perhaps the marketing review could wait. Within the hour, they were entering the gleaming glass tower of Reed Innovations headquarters. Julian held Sophia's hand tightly as they crossed the bustling lobby, poised at double takes at the sight of their notoriously serious CEO with a small child in tow. Mr. Reed, his executive assistant, said as they approached her desk outside his office. I wasn't expecting childcare emergency, Julian explained curtly. Olivia, this is my daughter, Sophia. Sophia, this is Ms. Barnes, who helps Daddy at work. Olivia Barnes smiled warmly at Sophia, her hazel eyes crinkling at the corners. It's lovely to meet you, Sophia. That's a beautiful dress you're wearing, Sophia twirled, showing off her purple dress with silver stars. Thank you. Purple is my favorite color. Julian cleared his throat. Olivia, the Parker file needs to be on my desk in 20 minutes. And reschedule Thompson for tomorrow. Olivia nodded professionally, but Julian didn't miss the slight raise of her eyebrow. In 3 years working together, he'd never seen that expression before. Of course, Mr. Reed. And what about your daughter? Julian hesitated. She can sit in my office while I work. I brought her tablet and some coloring books. Sophia's face fell slightly. The board meeting starts at 10, Olivia reminded him gently. Julian checked his watch again, 7:50 a.m. He had back-to-back meetings until 6 p.m. How was he going to manage this? I'll figure something out, he said, more sharply than intended. As they entered his corner office, Julian realized he'd never actually shown Sophia where he worked. The space was immaculate, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city and modernist furniture in shades of gray and black. Your office is so big, Daddy, Sophia whispered, looking suddenly small in the vast, sterile space. But where are all your pictures? Julian followed her gaze to his desk, which held nothing personal, no photographs, no mementos. Nothing of the life he had outside these walls. Well, this is where Daddy works, not where we live, he explained. Setting up her tablet on the conference table as Julian began reviewing his presentation, he couldn't help noticing how quiet Sophia had become. The silence felt wrong somehow, like a missing heartbeat. A soft knock interrupted his thoughts. Olivia stood in the doorway, holding 2 cups of coffee and a small paper bag. I thought you might need reinforcements, she said, placing 1 coffee on his desk. Hey, and I brought hot chocolate and a muffin for Sophia, if that's all right. It's Sophia's face lit up, and for the first time that morning, Julian felt the tension in his shoulders ease just slightly. Olivia. Barnes had anticipated many challenges when she became executive assistant to Julian Reed, the demanding hours, the exacting standards, the high-pressure environment. What she hadn't anticipated was the 6-year-old girl now sitting cross-legged on the floor of her boss's office, carefully arranging colored pencils in rainbow order. Mr. Reed, your 9 o'clock is here, Olivia announced, standing in the doorway. Julian looked up from his laptop, then at Sophia, a flicker of uncertainty crossing his usually composed face. "Send them in," he said. "Sophia can stay here and continue coloring." Olivia hesitated. The Westfield team brought their entire legal department. It might run long, and the board meeting starts right after. Julian checked his watch and nervous. Habit Olivia had noticed intensified whenever he felt out of control. "What do you suggest?" It was the first time he'd ever asked for her input on anything not directly related to work. "If you'd like, Sophia could help me organize the client gift baskets for the charity gala. My desk area is visible from your office, so you can keep an eye on her." Before Julian could respond, Sophia jumped up. "Can I, Daddy? Please?" After a moment's hesitation, Julian nodded. "That would be ... helpful. Thank you, Olivia." As the Westfield team filed in, Olivia led Sophia to her desk. She'd already cleared a space and set out colorful ribbons and gift tags. "Have you ever made a gift basket before?" Olivia asked, helping Sophia climb onto the chair beside her desk. Sophia shook her head. "Daddy usually buys presents online." Olivia smiled. "Well, you're in for a treat. These baskets are for people who help children in hospitals. Each one needs a special touch." For the next hour, Olivia guided Sophia through adding personalized notes to each basket. She was impressed by the girl's careful handwriting and thoughtful questions. "Do you have children, Ms. Barnes?" Sophia asked, carefully tying a blue ribbon. "No, I don't," Olivia replied, surprised by the question. "Then how come you're so good at talking to kids?" "Mrs. Patterson is nice, but she talks to me like I'm a baby," Olivia laughed. "I have 8 nieces and nephews, and I never liked when adults talked down to me when I was your age." Sophia nodded solemnly. "Daddy doesn't talk down to me either, but sometimes he forgets to talk to me at all." The simple statement caught Olivia off guard. Before she could respond, Julian's office door opened as the Westfield team departed. Julian appeared in the doorway, his expression softening as he saw Sophia focused intently on writing a gift tag. "Everything okay out here?" he asked. "Sophia has been a tremendous help," Olivia said. "We've finished 15 baskets already. Daddy, look what I made." Sophia held up a basket with an elaborate bow. "Ms. Barnes showed me how to curl the ribbons with scissors." Julian examined the basket, genuine surprise on his face. "That's very professional, Sophia." "Well done." The unexpected praise made Sophia beam. "Mr. Reed," Olivia interjected gently, "the board meeting starts in 10 minutes. Julian's expression immediately tensed. "Right, Sophia, you'll need 2, if I may," Olivia interrupted, something she rarely did. "I could take Sophia to the staff break room during your meeting. There's a small table where she could draw, and I can work on my laptop there instead." "Of at my desk," Julian's brow furrowed. "You don't need to do that, Olivia. It's not in your job description to babysit." "It's not babysitting if we're working together," Olivia replied evenly. "Besides, I could use Sophia's help with the event seating chart. She has an excellent eye for color coordination." Sophia looked hopefully at her father. After a moment, Julian nodded. "If you're certain it's no trouble." "No trouble at all," Olivia assured him as Julian gathered his materials for the board meeting. Olivia noticed him watching as she helped Sophia pack up their ribbon scraps. For just a moment, something unreadable crossed his face, something that looked almost like longing. Then the professional mask slipped back into place, and Julian Reed, CEO, strode purposefully toward the boardroom, leaving Olivia wondering about the man behind the title in the break room. Sophia helped Olivia arrange color-coded place cards for the upcoming charity gala. The little girl had a surprising talent for organization, suggesting grouping people who knew each other at the same tables. "How did you get so smart about parties?" Olivia asked. Sophia's smile dimmed slightly. "Mommy used to plan big parties. She taught me that people should sit with friends so they can have fun talking." Olivia gently placed her hand on Sophia's. "Your mommy sounds very wise." "She was," Sophia said quietly. "Daddy doesn't like talking about her, but I remember lots of things." As they continued working, Olivia noticed Julian glancing through the break room's glass wall whenever he passed by. Each time, his eyes would linger a moment longer than necessary, watching his daughter laugh and talk with an animation he rarely saw at home. Julian couldn't focus on the quarterly financials. His eyes kept drifting to the break room window where Sophia sat beside Olivia. Both of them hunched over something on the table, completely absorbed. He'd never seen his daughter so engaged with anyone since Charlotte died. Growth projections for next quarter, Mr. Reed? Julian snapped back to attention. Yes, as I was saying. The board meeting finally adjourned at noon. Julian immediately headed for the break room, stopping short at the doorway. The table was covered with origami animals, dozens of them arranged in what appeared to be a miniature zoo. "Daddy!" Sophia exclaimed. "Look what Ms. Barnes taught me. This is called Origami, Olivia supplied with a smile. Sophia is quite talented. She mastered the crane on her third try. Julian picked up a small paper fox, impressed by its precise folds. I didn't know you could do this. Olivia, there's a lot you don't know about Ms. Barnes, Sophia said, matter-of-factly. She speaks French and she can play the cello, and she knows how to make paper animals without instructions. Olivia blushed slightly. I studied in Paris for a semester during college. The origami I learned from my grandfather, Julian realized. He knew almost nothing about the woman who'd organized his professional life for 3 years. Their conversations had never ventured beyond work-related topics. She's making a special one for you, Daddy, Sophia continued. But it's a surprise, so you can't see it yet. Julian raised an eyebrow at Olivia, who smiled enigmatically. I should get back to work, she said, gathering her laptop. I've rescheduled your afternoon to give you a lunch break with Sophia. The reservations at Bella Vita are under your name. It's only 2 blocks away. Julian frowned. I didn't authorize the marketing review, can wait until tomorrow, Olivia said firmly. Mr. Thompson was actually relieved to reschedule for next week. Before Julian could protest, Sophia clapped her hands. Are we going to a restaurant, Daddy? It's a real one, not just delivery? The excitement in her voice made any objection die in Julian's throat. Yes, it seems we are. Lunch with Sophia turned out to be surprisingly enjoyable, away from the office. Julian found himself relaxing, listening to his daughter chatter about school and friends. When was the last time they'd shared a meal without him checking emails or taking calls? When they returned to the office, Sophia proudly carried a small box of leftover tiramisu for Ms. Barnes, because it's her favorite. How do you know that? Julian asked, surprised. Because she told me, silly. We talked about lots of things while you were in your meeting. Julian felt a strange twinge. In a few hours, Olivia had learned things about his daughter that he should have known himself. Had he really been so absent? Back at the office, they found Olivia deep in conversation with Nathan Porter, the head of product development. The prototype. Demonstration is scheduled for 3 o'clock, Olivia was saying. Mr. Reed should be finished with his conference call by then. Ms. Barnes, Sophia called, running forward with the dessert box. We brought you tiramisu. Nathan's eyes widened, in surprise at the sight of the little girl, then at Julian behind her. Thank you, Sophia, Olivia said warmly, accepting the box. That was very thoughtful. Julian nodded to his employee. We're still on for the demonstration? Yes, sir, Nathan replied, still looking bemused. Everything's set up in the test lab. Excellent, Olivia. Could you? Julian gestured vaguely toward Sophia. Olivia smiled. Actually, I thought Sophia might enjoy seeing the demonstration. The new educational app is designed for children her age, after all. She could provide valuable feedback. Nathan brightened. That's a great idea. We've been wanting to test with actual users. Julian hesitated. Bringing his daughter into a product demonstration seemed unprofessional. And yet you really think she could help? I do, Olivia said confidently. Sophia has excellent taste and she's not afraid to speak her mind. 2 hours later, Julian watched in amazement as his daughter pointed out flaws in the app's interface that his entire development team had missed. Her suggestion to add customizable avatars had Nathan scribbling notes enthusiastically. Out of the mouths of babes, Nathan murmured to Julian, She's got your business instincts. Julian felt an unexpected surge of pride. She gets her creativity. From her mother? It was the first time he'd mentioned Charlotte at work in 2 years, as they left the test lab. Julian noticed Sophia whispering something to Olivia, who nodded and pulled a folded paper from her pocket. Sophia took it and approached. "Julian, this is for you, Daddy," she said, handing him the origami creation. "Ms. Barnes helped me make it perfect." Julian carefully unfolded the paper animal, a magnificent dragon with outstretched wings. The detail was extraordinary. "Do you like it?" Sophia asked anxiously. "Ms. Barnes said you might want to put it on your desk, but if you don't want to, I love it," Julian said, his voice unexpectedly thick. "It's going right next to my computer." Over Sophia's head, his eyes met Olivia's. "Thank you," he mouthed silently. She nodded, a soft smile playing at her lips. And for the first time, Julian really saw her not as his efficient assistant, but as the remarkable woman who had just given him a glimpse of what he'd been missing. The origami dragon perched proudly beside Julian's computer monitor, the first personal item to grace his desk in years. For a week after Sophia's visit, Julian found himself glancing at it during conference calls and budget reviews. A small reminder of an unexpected day that had somehow shifted something fundamental in his carefully ordered life. "Look thoughtful," Olivia observed, setting down his afternoon coffee. Julian leaned back in his chair. Porter's team incorporated all of Sophia's suggestions into the educational app. Pre-launch testing shows engagement up 30%. "She's quite insightful," Olivia agreed. "How is she doing this week?" Question was personal, crossing the invisible line they'd maintained for 3 years, but Julian found himself answering anyway. "She's been asking when she can come back to the office. Apparently helping you with the gift baskets was more exciting than her usual after-school activities." Olivia smiled. "The charity gala is this Saturday. The baskets she helped with will be displayed at the entrance." Julian tapped his pen against his desk. Sophia mentioned that. Several times, actually. Perhaps she could attend. It's a family-friendly event, raising money for children's hospitals. Julian frowned. "I don't usually bring Sophia to work functions. If I may speak freely," Olivia said carefully. She seemed very proud of her contribution. Seeing the finished product might be meaningful to her. Julian studied Olivia's face. In the fluorescent office lighting, he noticed for the first time the gold flecks in her hazel eyes, the slight curl at the ends of her dark brown hair. "You care about her," he said, more statement than question. "She's a remarkable child," Olivia replied simply. Julian made a decision. "Could you help me find something appropriate for her to wear? I haven't shopped for a little girl's formal dress since." He stopped abruptly. Since her mother, Olivia finished gently. "I'd be happy to help." That Saturday evening, Julian adjusted his bow tie in the mirror. Listening to Sophia chattering excitedly to Mrs. Patterson about the special party with Ms. Barnes' baskets, he'd never seen his daughter so thrilled about accompanying him to an event. When they arrived at the hotel ballroom, Sophia gasped at the elegant decorations. "Daddy, look, there are our baskets." Julian followed her pointing finger to the display near the entrance. Each basket was artfully arranged, the ribbons Sophia had helped tie displayed prominently. "Mr. Reed," a familiar voice called. Julian turned to see Olivia approaching, and for a moment he forgot to breathe. She wore a simple midnight blue dress that made her eyes appear even more luminous than usual. Double quotes. "Ms. Barnes," Sophia exclaimed, twirling to show off her own dress, a silvery blue confection they'd chosen together. "Do I look fancy enough for the gala?" "Absolutely perfect," Olivia assured her, then glanced up at Julian. "You both clean up nicely." "As do you," Julian replied, surprised by the warmth in his own voice. Throughout the evening, Julian found himself watching as Olivia introduced Sophia to various guests, explaining the little girl's contribution to the gift baskets. Sophia bloomed under the attention, her confidence growing with each introduction. "Your daughter is delightful," Marianne Wilson, a major client, commented to Julian. "And your wife is so wonderful with her." "Oh, Ms. Barnes isn't," Julian began, then paused as he observed Olivia kneeling to help Sophia with her shoe buckle. Both of them laughing about something. The assumption was understandable. They looked like a family. Later, as the evening wound down, Julian found Sophia yawning, despite her best efforts to stay awake. "I think it's time to head home, Princess," he said gently. But I'm having so much fun, Sophia protested sleepily. I know, but even princesses need their rest. Olivia approached with Sophia's wrap. The event was a huge success. We've raised over $200,000. Largely thanks to your organization, Julian acknowledged. And Sophia's ribbon-tying skills, of course. Sophia beamed tiredly. Can Ms. Barnes come have breakfast with us tomorrow? We're having pancakes. Daddy makes them in animal shapes. Julian froze, caught off guard by the invitation and the revelation of his hidden culinary talents. Olivia looked equally surprised. That's very sweet, Sophia, but I wouldn't want to intrude on your family time. But you wouldn't be intruding, Sophia insisted. You're our friend. The simple declaration hung in the air between them. Actually, Julian heard himself saying, if you don't have plans, you'd be welcome to join us. Olivia's eyes widened slightly. Are you sure? Positive, Julian replied, surprised to find he meant it. Unless you have other commitments. Other commitments, Olivia said softly. I'd love to see these famous animal pancakes. The next morning, Julian found himself making pancake batter while watching Olivia and Sophia set the table together, chatting about their favorite books. The scene felt strangely natural, as if Olivia had always been part of their Sunday mornings. Ms. Barnes likes elephants best, Sophia announced, climbing onto her chair. Can you make an elephant pancake, Daddy? Julian raised an eyebrow at Olivia. Challenging my culinary artistry already. Olivia laughed, warm, genuine sound he'd rarely heard at the office. I have complete faith in your abilities, Mr. Reed. Julian, he corrected her. I think after animal pancakes we can use first names. Something shifted in her expression, softening, a recognition. Julian, she repeated, and I'm Olivia, not Ms. Barnes. Olivia, he echoed, testing the name without its professional title. Across the kitchen island, their eyes met. And Julian felt something he hadn't experienced in a very long time possibility. Asterisk 6 weeks after the charity gala. Julian sat in his office reviewing quarterly projections, the origami dragon. Still keeping watch beside his computer, the change in his workspace didn't end. Their framed photo of Sophia now stood on his credenza. Alongside a small potted succulent Olivia had suggested to add some life to the room. Small changes, but significant ones. Their Sunday pancake breakfast had become a weekly tradition. Sometimes they visited museums afterward, or parks, or once, at Sophia's insistence. A butterfly garden where Olivia had shown surprising expertise about lepturders. At work, their professional relationship remained intact, though Julian found himself seeking Olivia's input on matters beyond her administrative duties. Her insight into the children's educational app had proven invaluable. He'd recently invited her to attend strategy meetings where her thoughtful perspectives earned respect from the entire executive team. A knock interrupted his thoughts. Olivia entered, her expression uncharacteristically tense. Do you have a moment? She asked. Julian immediately set aside his work. Of course, is everything all right? Olivia took a seat across from him, placing a folder on his desk. I received an offer this morning from Westcott International. Julian felt a cold weight settle in his stomach. Westcott was a major global firm, a dream opportunity for someone with Olivia's talents. They want me to head their corporate communications department in their London office, she continued. London, Julian repeated, the weight growing heavier. An extraordinary opportunity, Olivia said quietly. The kind that doesn't come along often. Julian nodded mechanically. When would you start? They want an answer within the week. If I accept, I'd begin next month. 4,000 miles away. An ocean between them. Congratulations, Julian managed, his voice professionally neutral. Westcott would be lucky to have you, Olivia studied him, as if searching for something in his expression. I wanted to discuss it with you before making any decisions. It sounds like an ideal next step for your career, Julian said, the words tasting like ash. You deserve the recognition. Disappointment flickered across Olivia's face. Is that all you have to say? Julian stood abruptly, turning to look out the window at the city skyline. What would you like me to say, Olivia? That I don't want you to go? That Reed Innovations needs you? He paused. That I need you? The silence stretched between them. Any of that be true? She finally asked. Julian turned back to face her. All of it would be true. Olivia's expression softened. Julian, ... But I can't ask you to stay, he continued. Not when this opportunity could be everything you've worked for. You haven't asked me what I want, Olivia pointed out gently. Julian ran a hand through his hair, a rare gesture of uncertainty. What do you want, Olivia? She rose from her chair, moving around the desk until she stood before him. For 3 years, I've watched you build walls around yourself. Since Charlotte died, you've separated your life into compartments, work in one box, Sophia in another, grief locked away where no one could see it. Julian flinched at her accuracy. Then you brought Sophia to the office that day, Olivia continued, and something changed. The walls started coming down. I saw the man behind the CEO, the father who makes animal pancakes, who keeps an origami dragon on his desk, who's learning to live again. Because of you, Julian said quietly. Olivia shook her head. Because you allowed yourself to open up, to see possibilities again. Now you're leaving, Julian said, unable to keep the edge from his voice. That depends, Olivia replied. On what? On whether there's a reason for me to stay. Julian looked at her alley, looked at her hand, saw the question in her eyes. The vulnerability beneath her professional composure. Sophia would be devastated if you left, he said softly. She adores you. And what about you, Julian? The direct question demanded an equally direct answer. Julian took a deep breath. I've been afraid, he admitted. After losing Charlotte, I couldn't imagine risking my heart again. But these past weeks with you and Sophia, they've shown me what we've been missing. What I've been missing. He reached for her hands, holding them gently in his own. I don't want you to give up a dream opportunity. I need you to know that you've become important to meet it with some ways I never expected. Olivia's eyes shimmered. With emotion, London isn't the only dream, Julian. He looked at her questioningly. Westcott also mentioned an opening in their New York office, she explained. It would still be a promotion, just not overseas. New York is only a train ride away, Julian said, hope rising in his chest. Exactly, Olivia smiled. Close enough for weekend visits. For pancake breakfasts. Julian's thumb traced small circles on her palm. And if I wanted more than weekend visits, then we'd figure it out, Olivia said simply. Together. Julian nodded, a plan already forming. Reed Innovations has been considering a New York expansion for years. Perhaps it's time to accelerate. Those plans? Olivia laughed softly. Always the CEO, thinking of business solutions. Not always, Julian replied, his voice growing serious. Sometimes I'm just a man who's found something worth changing his life for. He stepped closer, one hand gently cupping her cheek. Stay, Olivia. Not as my assistant, but as part of our lives, Sophia's and mine. We can figure out the details. Career, the logistics, but don't go to London. Olivia's eyes searched his. Are you sure about this? About us? Instead of answering with words, Julian leaned forward and kissed her softly. When they pulled apart, he rested his forehead against hers. I've never been more certain of anything, he whispered. A week later, Sophia bounced excitedly as they prepared another Sunday breakfast. Is Olivia bringing the blueberries? She asked, helping Julian mix the pancake batter. She is, Julian confirmed, smiling as the doorbell rang. Would you like to let her in? Sophia raced to the door, flinging it open with characteristic enthusiasm. Olivia, Daddy's making your favorite elephant pancakes again. Olivia entered. Grocery bag in one, hand briefcase in the other. I brought the blueberries as promised, she announced. Setting down her things to accept Sophia's enthusiastic hug, Julian crossed the room to greet her with a kiss. How was the meeting with Westcott? Olivia smiled. You were very understanding. About my decision to stay local, the New York position is mine whenever I'm ready for it. And Reed Innovations' loss will be their gain, Julian said, taking the groceries from her. Though not for a while yet. Not for a while, Olivia agreed. Following them into the kitchen,